Demon Drop is the last remaining first-generation Intamin freefall in North America. Located at Dorney Park, there are bigger and more technologically advanced drop towers out there. Heck, even Dorney Park is a larger drop tower just down the midway. But few are as intimidating or as intense as the original freefalls. Find out why you shouldn't miss this drop tower in this review. In 1982, Intamin debuted the world's first drop tower at two Six Flags parks with the freefall model, which would later be known as the first generation drop tower. This attraction found its way to multiple Six Flags parks across the country. And in 1983, Cedar Point added one named Demon Drop. While I never experienced the attraction while I was at Cedar Point, I loved Demon Drop's placement on the front midway. The ride looked mighty imposing with its tall teal scaffolding structure. In 2009, Cedar Point announced that Demon Drop would be leaving the park. This wasn't much of a surprise considering it was the final first-generation freefall still operating in the US. What was shocking was that Demon Drop be relocated to another Cedar Fair park. The ride was originally announced as a new ride for Knott's Berry Farm for the 2010 season, but just 1 month after this announcement, pieces of Demon Drop were instead spotted at Dorney Park. In a surprise move, Cedar Fair announced that Demon Drop would now become a new for 2010 ride at Dorney Park. Like Cedar Point, both Knott's Berry Farm and Dorney Park had giant S&S drop towers, so Demon Drop wasn't an ideal fit at either park. However, Cedar Fair determined the ride would work better at Dorney for two reasons. One, they decided the ride may not work well within the Ghost Town section of Knott's where it would be placed. They thought it may be an eyesore. Two, they decided the lower capacity would work better at a less busy park like Dorney. One of the biggest downsides with this model is the capacity. The ride operates with 4-person vehicles and takes nearly 2 minutes to cycle. Demon Drop operates with 3 vehicles in the course at once, so it can handle up to 12 riders max at a time. Compare that to newer drop towers that can both cycle faster and/or handle more riders. This poor capacity combined with the ride's age is one of the biggest reasons they were removed from most parks across the globe, primarily in the 2000s. Six Flags alone removed 4 this decade. You only have 4 other freefalls still remaining. You have Hollywood Action Tower at Movieland Park in Italy, and 3 others in Japan. Those would be Freefall at Risutsu Resort, Freefall Himeji Central Park, and Freefall at Nagashima Spa Land. I actually have ridden the latter, but none of the others besides this one and Demon Drop past or present. But because of Dorney's crowd levels, Demon Drop is almost always a walk-on. That's the case with most rides at Dorney most days. It also helps this ride is tucked in the back corner of the park in a dead end. The ride definitely doesn't have as strong of a presence as it did at Cedar Point. It's one of the shorter drop towers out there, just 13 stories tall, but it also doesn't help that it was placed at the bottom of a hill. And you can't really even see the attraction until you're right up on top of it. Compare that to its former home where Demon Drop dwarfed everything on that front midway at Cedar Point. When you board the vehicles, you'll notice they aren't the most comfortable. The seats are hard and sort of angled forwards. I think the latter makes the drop more thrilling because it subtly angles you towards the ground. Then you have these thin over-the-shoulder restraints, but they have some weight to them and they want to keep lowering further on your chest because of how they pull downwards. I recommend holding on to them once they're checked to prevent them from ratcheting down further. The vehicles in general don't look the best, as they resemble metal cages, and you can see those scorching hot metal brake fins fully exposed in the back of each car. The vehicles are loaded in trios and dispatched together. One at a time, you roll backwards into the lift shaft. You then briskly rattle atop the 131-foot or 40-meter tall tower. I know there are far taller drop towers out there, but the crudeness of this one really makes my palms sweat. It looks more like scaffolding on a construction site than an amusement ride, and it only gets scarier. At the top, you slowly roll forwards out of the lift shaft and into the drop shaft. It's a far jankier version of Tower of Terror's 5th dimension scene. It feels unnatural moving forwards like that with nothing in front of you. But you do get a sweet view overlooking Dorney Park, but it's hard to think about anything but the imminent drop. And you plunge with no warning. Unlike other drop towers that tend to have a tell, there isn't one on Demon Drop. The vehicle is suddenly released and you plummet vertically for 6 stories. This drop delivers a pure freefall sensation. You drop like a rock, and it's more gut-wrenching than modern drop towers, including the one just across the park. I love the power of this drop. I always lose my stomach. The rest of Demon Drop is where the experience goes south. Unlike most drop towers that are a single tower, this one has a pull-out into a straight section of track with a series of breaks, so basically the tower makes an L. So your body transitions from being in the seated position to lying on your back. It's a rapid and disorienting shift. However, this section is a little bumpy, so you may want to lift your head off the headrest. Once stopped, you are then pushed backwards. You're still on your back at this point. The vehicle then starts lowering down to the station level, and then it abruptly snaps back upright. This is a really jerky maneuver, so I strongly advise leaning forwards, or else your head can get whacked. You don't need to worry about your head moving side to side and hitting the harness at this point or any point in the ride. That hard seat back is your main concern. I dread this part every time I ride Demon Drop. You then slowly roll backwards into the station, ending the experience. If the ride I described sounds like a roller coaster, you can make a compelling case. Demon Drop, like all the first generation freefalls, navigates a complete circuit of track. Honestly, the course is more reminiscent of a roller coaster than a drop tower. While I certainly understand the argument, I personally consider Demon Drop a drop tower based off the smell test. I look at what type of ride it compares best to, and for me it's a drop tower. So what would I rate Demon Drop? I would give this attraction an 8 out of 10. This ride is one of the few out there that still genuinely scares me. There's something about the way this ride looks and the way the vehicle transitions between a lift and drop shaft. Then that drop is breathtaking. It has way more power than you'd expect for a tower of this scale. I think the drop has more of a punch than newer Intamin drop towers for comparison. However, the sequence after the drop is a negative. I'm glad modern drop towers found a way to break riders more comfortably and return them upright, because the stop on your back and jerk upright are pretty unpleasant here. That being said, I ultimately give this an edge over a lot of newer towers, including Dominator in the same park, because of the uniqueness and thrill factor. So those are my thoughts on Demon Drop at Dorney Park. What are your thoughts on America's last remaining first generation freefall? Do you like this attraction? Or have you ridden any of the others out there, past or present? While this review focused mostly on Demon Drop, I have also ridden freefall at Nagashima Spa Land, and the experience was nearly identical. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.